Growing up in the suffocating silence of a microscopic town in rural Arkansas meant that privacy was a myth and conformity was the law.
Did you see that?
If you were even a fraction different from the norm, the entire town treated you like a glitch in the matrix, and unfortunately, I was the biggest glitch of all. Hi, my name is Ashley, and this is the twisted, magical, and slightly terrifying story of how my greatest burden became my superpower, only to become a choice that defined my entire life. From the moment I was a toddler, a severe hearing impairment forced me to rely on a bulky, awkward device hooked over my left ear that hummed with a low static only I could feel. My parents were obsessively protective, drilling into my head that I could never, under any circumstances, remove the device because it was dangerous for my health. As I entered the brutal battlefield of tweenhood, that device became a target painted on my back, attracting the worst kind of attention. Molly, the school's resident beauty queen and part-time tormentor, made it her life's mission to remind me that I was essentially a cyborg freak. She would sneak up behind me in the hallway, tapping aggressively on my plastic earpiece, and shout, "Paging Agent Ashley, do you copy?" I would flinch, humiliation burning my cheeks, as she laughed and announced, "Come in, Ashley, we have a breach of security in the nerd sector." The entire class would erupt into laughter at her shameless harassment, and the teachers, terrified of Molly's influential parents, would just look down at their desks. I wanted to disappear into the floorboards, but there was no escape, not at school and certainly not at home. My home life was a constant war zone, with mom and dad always screaming at each other, their voices muffled but the anger vibrating through the walls. It always seemed like the arguments were about me, about my safety, about my condition, as if I were a volatile chemical they were afraid to handle. One evening at dinner, my mom asked, "How was school today, honey? Is that horrible Molly girl still making fun of you?" I was too busy stabbing my peas with a fork, imagining they were Molly's tires, so I didn't respond immediately. Mom's voice grew shrill as she snapped, "Ashley, I said how was school? Did you hear me?" Dad slammed his hand on the table and yelled, "Of course she heard you, she can hear, she is just in one of her moods again." "I am sorry," Mom cried, throwing her hands up, "I am just trying to connect with our daughter since you clearly won't." "Well, maybe you should give her some space because all your suffocating is not helping her develop," Dad retorted, his face turning red. I squeezed my eyes shut, wishing more than anything that I could just turn off the sound of their unhappy marriage. In a moment of pure frustration, I reached up and yanked the device out of my ear for the first time in my life. I expected silence, but instead, I was met with a piercing, high-pitched ringing sound that vibrated through my skull like a dog whistle amplified by a megaphone. "Honey, no," my mom screamed, her eyes widening in genuine terror as she and Dad rushed over to me. They shoved the device back into my ear with desperate hands, and I nearly passed out from the sheer physical pain of the noise transition. When I came to, sitting on the kitchen floor, I was in shock, gasping for air and asking, "What was that?" "That is what happens when you don't listen to us," my dad said, sweating profusely, "that device is there to protect you." "Don't you ever try that again," my mom added, trembling, "Protect me from what? Hearing loss?" Something felt undeniably off about their reaction, a level of panic that didn't match the situation, but I didn't dare remove the device again for years. I didn't have many friends, so to cope with the loneliness, my parents bought me a quirky harmonica bottle. Despite my hearing issues, blowing into the harmonica cap and playing a little tune with every sip brought me a strange, simple joy. It is a small thing, I know, but isn't life all about the little moments that make us happy when the big moments suck? When I finally got to high school, Mom forced me to join an extracurricular activity in a desperate hope that I would make at least one friend. So, I joined the soccer team, the only sport where I could run fast enough to escape my problems, or so I thought. I didn't realize until tryouts that Molly was the team captain. and she made sure to tease me for every single mistake I made on the field. "Hey, Trashley," she would yell across the grass, "can you turn off your robot music and focus on scoring a single goal?" During our penultimate season game against our biggest rival, the pressure was suffocating, and I was terrified I would mess up. We were 1 point away from winning, the defense was tight, and the clock was ticking down the final seconds. I had no idea Molly was planning to pass me the ball, mostly because she usually pretended I didn't exist. "Ashley, get open," she screamed, and she kicked the ball high into the midair toward me. I tried to chest bump it like we practiced, but I miscalculated the trajectory and fell flat on my chest, letting the ball roll out of bounds. The whistle blew, we lost the game, and the disappointment from the team was heavier than gravity. "I thought that thing was supposed to help you here," Molly sneered, standing over me while I was still on the ground. I couldn't take it anymore, the years of torment bubbling up like lava, so I stood up and kicked the soccer ball straight at her. "I heard you loud and clear," I shouted, and bam, the soccer ball hit her smack in the face with a satisfying thud. Fuming with rage, Molly charged at me like a bull, tackling me to the muddy ground before I could react. I felt her hands clawing at my head, yanking on my hearing device as we wrestled in the dirt. "Give me that thing," she shrieked. "Stop, don't, help, I need help." Before anyone could save me, she ripped the device out of my ear and chucked it across the soccer field. That brutal, painful ringing started reverberating instantly, sending shockwaves through my head and freezing my blood. I fell to my knees, screaming in agony, clutching my head as the world spun violently around me. And then, as quickly as the pain came, it vanished, replaced by total, utter silence. I opened my eyes, stunned by the scene in front of me, because no one was moving a muscle. Everyone was frozen in place, like statues in a museum of teenage angst. The referee had his hand around Molly's wrist, trying to restrain her, but he was frozen mid-shout, spit suspended in the air. Hello? Guys? What is happening?" I asked, my voice echoing strangely in the dead air. The thing was, I could hear myself screaming perfectly clear, even without the hearing aid, which made no sense. I scanned the field desperately for my device and found it lying near the goalpost, glistening in the sun. I fashioned it back into my ear, braced myself, and was met with that piercing ringing again for a split second. But this time, when I opened my eyes, the world had hit play, everyone was moving, shouting, and living again. Molly was being apprehended by the ref, getting dragged off the field while screaming obscenities at me. Hovering above me, offering a hand, was a boy my age from the opposing team who I had never seen before. I thought he was going to say something snarky about my fall, but instead, he looked at me with intense kindness. "I am sorry that happened to you," he said softly, pulling me up from the grass.
Are you okay?
"Oh, weird, looks like you got your device back." "Huh," he noticed, glancing at my ear.
Why are you so...
"Anyway, I know what it is like to be bullied. I am Jasper, by the way," he introduced himself with a crooked smile. He had these really weird-looking sunglasses secured to his head with a metal wire, even though it was overcast. "I can't take them off, or something about the sun, I don't know," he shrugged when he saw me looking. "Just stay strong and don't let it get to you. What they see as your biggest weakness could be your biggest strength," he advised. "My biggest strength?" I repeated, wondering if he knew something I didn't. There was totally something my parents weren't telling me, and I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but the device seemed to control time. When I got home, I thought about telling my parents what I had experienced, but I had no idea how they would react. I wanted to be sure first, so I decided to do a little experiment right there at the dinner table. "Your coach called," Dad said, cutting his steak aggressively. "Apparently you got into a little tussle with that girl Molly. I am going to call her mother, Enough is enough, Mom declared, reaching for her phone. Oh come on, you think that is what Ashley needs? Her mother interfering like that is going to make school easier for her. Dad argued. Would you rather she get tormented every day while you sit there and do nothing? Mom shot back. I couldn't listen to them bicker anymore, so I rushed away from the dinner table and locked myself in the bathroom. I yanked out my earpiece, gritting my teeth, ready to face that dreadful ringing pain again. When the pain subsided and I opened my eyes, all was silent, and the shrill sound of my parents screaming was gone. I was nervous to go back to the kitchen, a million thoughts running through my head about physics and reality. When I arrived at the dinner table, my parents were right where I left them, frozen like wax figures. My mom's fork was waving in the air, and a droplet of spaghetti sauce was suspended mid-fall near Dad's face. Then I realized I couldn't hear the traffic outside, or the baby next door crying, or even the wind in the trees. I stepped outside to find that I had effectively frozen the entire neighborhood, and panic started to set in. What if I had caused a catastrophe, or what if I couldn't unfreeze them? I needed to get to the lookout point in town to see how far my artwork extended geographically. My neighbor was frozen on his bicycle in the middle of the street, and I realized I needed transportation. I snapped a photo of him with my phone so I could put him right back where I found him later, just to be safe. Then I picked him up, set him gently on the sidewalk, hopped on his bike, and pedaled furiously to the overlook. From the top, I could see all the way out to the water, and I looked onto the horizon, searching for movement. The river didn't even look like it was flowing, it was a painting of water, stiff and glass-like. But then I spotted something impossible, a fisherman wading in the water, actively reeling in his fishing rod. He was moving, which meant my power had a range limit, or maybe he was immune. I didn't know if I could handle the responsibility of freezing the entire world, so I needed to get home and search for answers. As I turned around to leave, I noticed a row of cars parked at the infamous makeout point, near the overlook. I peered through the windows and saw my classmates frozen mid-kiss, which was both fascinating and gross. I thought the makeout spot was a total myth, and the last thing I needed was another reminder of how abnormal I was. I had never kissed anyone, and looking at them, I felt a pang of jealousy for their normal, stupid teenage lives. Then, in one of the luxury cars, I saw a familiar mop of blonde hair pressed against the passenger window. It was Molly, and in the driver's seat, looking distressed even while frozen, was Jasper. What the heck?
Oh my God,
I whispered. I had no idea they even knew each other. The guy who saved me from my bully looked like he was mid-argument with her, his hands thrown up in frustration. Were they dating, breaking up, or plotting something evil against the school? I was suddenly filled with a protective rage, feeling like Jasper was being manipulated by the devil herself. I saw a lizard on the ground, picked it up, and dumped it into the crack in the window, right onto Molly's lap. Then I hid behind a tree, put my hearing device back in, and watched the chaos unfold as time resumed. She jumped out of the car, frantic, screaming, "Ew, ew, ew," while Jasper looked confused and startled. I couldn't help but laugh to myself. I suddenly felt powerful, realizing this wasn't a disability, it was a weapon. Oh shoot, totally forgot to return the bike, I realized, and I sped home, leaving the bike right where I found it. When I got home, my parents were livid, standing in the exact spots, but now animated with fury. "Where were you? We were terrified, we didn't even hear you leave," Mom shouted, tears in her eyes. "Sweetie, it's fine, she's home now, you don't have to hover so much," Dad said, trying to calm her. "I just went for a bike ride to clear my head, to get away from your arguing," I lied smoothly. I locked myself in my room, wishing there was a way I could use my powers to make my parents get along. I thought maybe I could fix things by becoming the social, well-adjusted daughter they had always wanted. So I started scheming, realizing I could stop time to manipulate social situations to my advantage. While I was at my locker the next day, I overheard some cool alternative girls talking about a birthday celebration. The party was fun, but I realized no one got the birthday girl, Bryn, the gift she actually wanted. She had mentioned an electronic baby doll, a weird childhood dream gift, and looked disappointed at her pile of clothes. I took my earpiece out, suffered through the familiar pain, and sprang into action while everyone was frozen holding cake. I dashed out of the house, biked to the nearest toy store, hunted down the doll, and raced back. Taking a deep breath, I put my earpiece back in, walked up to the group, and smiled as time restarted. "Hey, Bryn, I know yesterday was your birthday and I saw the invite. I couldn't make it, but here is a little something," I said. "Oh my God, no way, an electronic baby doll," she screamed. "This is exactly what I wanted. You are amazing. Give me a hug, dude," she yelled, and just like that, I had bought my way into popularity. I invited Bryn and her crew over to watch a movie, and I could hear Mom and Dad talking about me from the other room. "I am so relieved she has finally made friends," Mom whispered, sounding genuinely happy for the first time in years. "Now if only she could get her grades up," Dad added, "then maybe she would be truly set." "Sure thing, Dad," I thought to myself, knowing I had a cheat code for that too. "Okay, time is up, Ashley, walk me through the problem," my math teacher demanded the next day at the board. I was notoriously horrible at algebra, so I thought I would buy myself some time to find the answer. The problem on the board looked like alien hieroglyphics to me, but the solution was just a pause away. I took my earpiece out, time froze, and then I casually walked over to the smartest girl in the room's desk. I copied her notes onto my hand, walked back to the board, put my earpiece back in, and smiled. To isolate the variable, first subtract 5 from both sides, I recited perfectly, writing it down. Simplifying 2x plus 5 minus 5 equals 15 minus 5 leads to 2x equals 10, I finished with a flourish. "Wow, great work, Ashley," the teacher said, looking stunned, while Molly narrowed her eyes in the back. "She is cheating," Molly whispered to her friend. "Someone is feeding her answers through that earpiece." She wasn't entirely wrong, but she couldn't prove it, and that made me feel invincible. At our final season-ending soccer game, I decided it was time for the ultimate revenge against my tormentor. As Molly was winding up to kick the ball for an easy, open net goal, I froze time. She was halted mid-kick, leg extended, a look of arrogant triumph already on her face. I walked over and moved the ball slightly to the right, just enough to ruin her geometry. When I unfroze time, her foot swung through empty air, and the momentum carried her straight onto her butt. She missed the ball completely, and her face turned beet red as the crowd groaned in disappointment. "Might want to check your eyesight," I called out, and the satisfaction was sweeter than candy. Even though it was causing me immense pain to keep freezing time, it was worth it just to see Molly fall. For the final play, I froze the field, moved the goalpost over ever so slightly, and pivoted the goalie to the left. I unfroze time and scored the winning goal, the ball sailing into the net perfectly. The crowd went wild, and all of my teammates lifted me up in celebration while Molly pouted on the sidelines. After the excitement settled, I saw Jasper making his way toward me, dodging the celebrating parents. "Wow, amazing performance," he said. "I didn't know you would be here, or that you were this good." "Yeah. Well, I have my methods," I grinned. "My best friend plays on the other team, don't tell anyone." "Hey, do you want to hang out later?" he asked, scratching the back of his neck nervously. I blinked, stunned. Seriously?" I asked, seeing Molly staring daggers at us from the corner of my eye. You are not dating her, are you? I asked bluntly, pointing a thumb at Molly. Molly?
No way.
No, I am absolutely
not.
not dating Molly, he said quickly, looking disgusted. There was an awkward pause, and I needed to do something to break the tension, so I grabbed my harmonica bottle. I took a sip, and without thinking, I blew into the cap, sending a loud, unexpected whistle echoing through the field.
Gotcha.
Jasper jumped
You look
back.
really good
Did
out
your
there,
water
by the way.
bottle just make a sound? He asked, eyes wide.
You almost made me.
I blinked down at it, then tried again, playing a perfect little tune from the cap to show off. It was a gift, but you can totally get one too. I'll send you the link, I laughed, feeling a spark. All right, so is that a yes to hanging out? He pressed, smiling charmingly. Yes, awesome. I will pick you up in an hour. We can go to the lookout point, he said.
This is going to be the.
I nodded, holding my harmonica bottle like a trophy, thinking this could be my first real date. But first, I had to finish my take-home algebra test, and there was no way I could do it in an hour legally. So I improvised, waiting for the janitor to pass by so I could swipe the master key from his belt in frozen time. This time, the pain in my ear was excruciating, a sharp stabbing sensation that made my knees buckle. I unlocked the teacher's office, frantically searching for the test results key, making sure not to displace papers. Finally, I found it, but just as I was taking photos of the answers, my ear started ringing piercingly loud. I collapsed onto the desk, knocking over the teacher's mug and spilling old, cold coffee all over the answer key. Panic surged as I ran out of the office, locked the door, and clasped the keys back onto the janitor's belt before I fell. I fled the school before anyone saw me, my heart pounding in my chest like a drum. I got home and waited for Jasper to pick me up, checking my reflection every 2 minutes. But an hour passed, then 2, and he never showed up. I had been stood up. Go figure, I muttered, furious and heartbroken, borrowing my neighbor's bike again to ride to the lookout. There Jasper was, wearing his sunglasses at night, sitting on the ridge, desperately clasping Molly's hand. Oh, hey, Jasper, so you stood me up for Molly?
Molly.
I announced, walking up behind them. Wait, are you guys in on this together, trying to humiliate me? I accused, tears stinging my eyes. Ashley, no, that is not what this is. Jasper shouted, standing up quickly. Then what is it? What are you really hiding behind your sunglasses? I demanded. You said you were sensitive to the sun, well it is nighttime. I yelled, reaching for his face. Leave us alone, freak! Molly screamed, trying to block me. I yanked my earpiece out, freezing the world, and pulled Jasper's sunglasses down from his face to see the truth. But suddenly, I felt someone's hand grab my wrist tight. It was Jasper's hand. Startled, I quickly pushed his glasses back over his face, and his hand fell limp instantly. Had he unfrozen for a second? I was confused and terrified, so I ran down the hill to safety. I unfroze everything once I was far away, realizing I was getting too careless with my secret. I needed to know what was wrong with me, so that night, while my parents slept, I froze time again. I dug through my dad's home office filing cabinet and was shocked to find adoption papers from when I was 3. I couldn't believe it, I whispered, staring at the documents. I only had more questions. The next morning, Mom stormed into my room, livid, holding a phone. Ashley, the school said they caught you sneaking into your teacher's office on the security cameras. Someone spilled coffee on the test answers. What were you thinking? She screamed. I just wanted to do well in school so I didn't disappoint you and Dad. I yelled back. Well, this is disappointing, she countered. I said you were putting too much pressure on her, and your backseat parenting method is really working. Huh?
It wasn't my fault,
Dad
Mom.
interjected.
Guys,
stop.
I
I screamed, slamming my hands on the bed. I know the truth. You can stop fighting. What are you talking about? Mom asked, freezing in place without my powers. That I was adopted, and did you know about my power? I asked, holding up the device. What happens when I take this out? I threatened, hand hovering over my ear. My parents went silent, exchanging a look of pure guilt and fear. Guys, it is complicated. Why don't you sit down? Dad said, his voice trembling. You did know. Seriously, am I some sort of science experiment? I accused, backing away. Honey, don't come near me. I shouted as Mom stepped forward. I couldn't trust my own parents, so I ran out the front door, seeking the only other person who might understand. It occurred to me I had no idea where Jasper lived, but I ran anyway. Before I reached the end of the road, someone was flashing their headlights at me. It was Mom's car. Honey, we will explain, just come home, she yelled from the window. I started running faster, and in the chaos, I pulled my earpiece out to freeze them. But my sweaty hand slipped, and I dropped the device onto the asphalt road. I heard a sickening crunch as Mom's car skidded to a halt, the front wheel crushing my device completely. No! I screamed, diving for the pieces, desperately trying to jam the broken plastic back into my ear. Come on, come on! I begged, but it wasn't working, time wouldn't stop, and the magic was gone. I had to find Jasper fast, so I ran to Molly's house, hoping she knew where he lived. She was sitting on her porch crying, looking miserable. I didn't ask permission. I pulled her phone out of her pocket and unlocked it with her Face ID. There were about 20 missed calls from Jasper, so I found his address in her contacts. I grabbed my bike and rushed over there, lungs burning with exertion. When I arrived, I was stunned to see his house was basically a dilapidated shed in the woods. I squeezed through the window and found Jasper alone on his couch, frozen in place. He was holding a photo of himself as a child surrounded by a huge family, tears frozen on his cheeks. I ran to him and removed his glasses, praying it would work, and he gasped, unfreezing. Ashley?
Where are we, Ashley?
Is that you? What are you doing here? He asked, disoriented. What is going on? I asked, pulling him up. I ran outside to see if anything was moving, but time is still frozen here. Can you freeze time too? I asked, realizing the implication. I grabbed his hand and took him outside to show him the dead silence, birds frozen in the sky. Jasper didn't seem surprised, he just looked defeated. Oh wow, I had a feeling you had it too, he sighed, rubbing his temples. Why did you stand me up for Molly? Does she know? I interrogated him.
I'm sorry,
Ashley, I am so sorry, I didn't stand you up, I was scared, he confessed. Molly is just a former friend who has been blackmailing me since she found out about my secret, he explained. It started with little stuff, making her prom queen, voting her most lovable, basically buying her popularity. That night on the bench, I was pleading with her not to spill my secret because she wanted me to hack her ex's phone. You were born October 4th, right? He asked suddenly. Yeah. How did you know? I asked. Me too, and a handful of others. Anyone in that nursery that day was exposed to a chemical leak that gave us this power. These glasses prevent the time freeze, just like your hearing aid, he said, tapping the wire frames. When my parents found out, they used me, he said, looking down, they threatened to expose me to the government. I helped them steal and cheat people to get rich. I don't want to hurt anyone, but everyone keeps hurting me. I get that, I whispered. My parents never even told me I was adopted. It sounds like they were just trying to protect you from being used like I was, Jasper noted. I ran away when I was 14 and have been on my own ever since, he admitted. We have to fix this, I said firmly. My device is broken, so I can't control it anymore. We can get out of this town now, and once we are far enough, the town will unfreeze, Jasper suggested. No, I am sick of manipulating things, I said, shaking my head. I don't want to run anymore. I don't like you because you won at soccer or because you are cool, I told him. I like you because you have a genuine heart. Help me, please, we have to start time again and end these powers forever, I pleaded. He looked conflicted, then sighed. My parents made me steal a master device from the lab before I ran away. Activating it will restart time, but it will overload our devices, destroying the powers permanently. Then I would just be normal, he said, fear in his eyes. Jasper, there is nothing normal about you, powers or not, I assured him. Imagine if bad people had these powers, but we got them, and it led us to each other, I smiled. He didn't seem sure, so I faced my fears, leaned in, and kissed him. It was super awkward, teeth clashing slightly, and we both pulled back and chuckled. See? Doesn't it feel nice to be generic? We are just like every other awkward teenager, I laughed. He kissed me back, and this time it was magical, and he whispered, okay, let's face this world together. We snuck into the school to tie up loose ends, returning the stolen answer key and fixing the grades. Then Jasper took out the master device, a small metallic cube, and activated it. Suddenly, the air shimmered, and things started to move slowly again. He dropped the cube to the ground and stomped on it, shattering it into pieces. Then he threw his glasses on the ground, and I joined him, smashing them until they were dust. Everything around us snapped back into motion, the wind blew, and the distant traffic roared. When I got home, my parents were sitting at the kitchen table, holding hands and crying. This is all your fault, Joe, if you hadn't. Mom started, but I cut her off. Stop blaming each other. I commanded, I know everything. I know you were fighting about how to keep me safe. I just want to know why you adopted me, I asked softly. Your birth mom gave you up when she found out you were different, Dad explained. She was scared. We were competing with a corrupt family to adopt you so we could protect you from them, Mom added. That corrupt family was Jasper's parents, I realized. You saved me from a terrible life. Tears welled up in my eyes. The best way you can protect me now is by being nice to each other. We just have different ideas about what is best, Dad admitted, squeezing Mom's hand. I have decided what is best for myself, I declared. I destroyed my powers. You what? They gasped in unison. I just want to be normal, with all the pain and beauty that comes with it, I smiled. They didn't get mad. Instead, they scooped me into a massive group hug, united at last. Shortly after, Jasper and I started dating officially, and even though we couldn't freeze time, it felt like time stopped when we kissed. Don't worry, my mischievous spirit didn't die. Guess who is homecoming queen this year? Yep, it is Ashley, and Jasper is my king, proving that sometimes, being normal is the most magical thing of all.